Can God use anything? Actually, he can. And that's what we're talking about today on this week's Hope Kids Online. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Hope Kids Online. We're so glad that you have joined us for this episode today. Justin!
What?
I'm so excited for today.
Why?
Today is about giving stuff.
Giving stuff?
Yeah.
Are you giving me something?
No, I'm not giving you stuff. No, it's about taking what we have and giving it to God.
Ah.
Yeah, but how do we do that?
What about this?
Oh, yeah. You know what this is, boys and girls? This is a buddy barrel. And actually, on the first Sunday of every month, we do a missions offering. And all of the money that comes in these fun little barrels, actually all the offerings we take in Kids Church on that first Sunday, all of it goes to missionaries who are people who live in other countries to tell people about Jesus. It goes to them to help tell more people about Jesus. So,
And you know what these little buddy barrels can sometimes add up to?
how much?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much, but I know they've bought like vehicles and stuff with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, just 2 years ago, we raised almost $5 million raised off of kids' pennies that have just been put in those barrels.
Really?
Really.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and that's incredible. And you can give in that offering too. And so here's the question we have for you. What is the best gift that you have ever received?
Wow.
What's the best gift you've ever received? Go ahead and put that right down in the comments. Justin, what's the best gift you've ever received?
I have a antique Forstner knife steel.
Forstner knife steel. That's very nice. From the size of it, looks like a machete.
Well, you know those little tiny ones that you get in your kitchen sometimes?
Yeah.
Well, this is a butcher's version that's like this long.
I'm not going to Justin's house. That's very scary. That's what it is. Hey, we got a great episode for you today. We got a brand new potato head theater. And fun fact, we actually used every single potato head we own for this one. It's a very full scene. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And we got a game coming up right now. So we'll see you right back here in just a few minutes.
And I'm Jordan. Welcome back to this series called Never Too Young.
Have you ever thought that you just didn't have much to offer God?
You know, you thought that your itty-bitty talent, your itty-bitty abilities, and your itty-bitty bit of money just wasn't that big of a deal?
Some people think that way. They think they just don't have much to offer God.
They feel like they might as well not even try because God can't do anything big with what little they have to offer.
But that is not true.
Not true.
Exactly. That's not true.
Not true.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because it's not true.
Anyway, we want you to meet a really cool kid who understands that when you give God a little, he can use it to do something huge. Check it out.
My name is Andrew, and I'm 9 years old. I remember a couple of years ago when my children's pastor was talking about the kids in Laos, how they didn't have anywhere to stay or anywhere to go. And I thought that wouldn't feel good for me. If that happened to me, that would not be fun. So I decided that I had to do something. I started thinking, what could I do about this? It costs a lot of money to build an orphanage in Laos. I don't even have that much money. I don't even know how much I have, but it's not really that much. So I thought, what could I do to change this? I started talking to my sister so she can help me get a few ideas for what we were going to do. And we finally came up with an idea, Pause for a Cause. Pause for a Cause is where we decorated dog bowls and collected money from the owners. And all the money that we collected went to the orphanage in Laos. We made 47 bowls and collected nearly $500 for the orphanage in Laos. It's amazing. Some people ask me, why dog bowls? Well, I didn't have that much money, but I do have a little bit of talent, and that talent is decorating dog bowls. So I gave that talent to God, and he turned it into $500 for the country of Laos. Wow.
Wow, he's a pretty cool kid. Who did a pretty cool thing?
Yeah, and today we are going to learn about another kid in the Bible who did something similar.
He painted dog bowls back in the Bible days?
No, silly, but he did give Jesus what little he had, and Jesus did a miracle. He turned that boy's little lunch into enough food to feed 5,000 people.
5,000 people? That's a lot of chicken nuggets.
Never mind him. It's time for you to get into your lesson today, called Give What You Have. Until next time, this is Elliot.
And Jordan, reminding you that when it comes to doing big things for God, you are
Never too young.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Potato Head Theater. Today's story is found in John chapter 6. In our story, we find Jesus teaching a huge crowd of people. There were well over 5,000 people listening to him share about God's love.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who mourn, because they will be comforted.
They were there for a long time and started to get hungry. Several of the disciples came up to Jesus and said, "Master, these people are very hungry."
Jesus, yes, Peter. what do you need?
Great teaching. Loving it so far. Don't know if you noticed, you blew past lunch. It's now approaching dinner time, and some of these people are getting hungry. And by people, I mean me.
Jesus looked at them and said, "You feed them."
You know, that's a great idea. Why don't you just go ahead and take care of that for me? I'm going to get back to teaching. You are the salt of the earth. If the salt loses its saltiness, what good is it except to be thrown out and trampled upon?
The disciples explained that they had nothing to feed them.
Jesus, excuse me, Jesus.
Yes, Peter?
So we don't have any food. We didn't bring enough to feed all these people. I don't know what you want us to do.
I told you to feed them. Go ahead and take care of that. Anyways, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden.
Not only that, but they certainly didn't have enough money to buy food for everyone either.
Jesus.
Yes, Peter.
So we counted up the cash. We don't even have enough to get a Happy Meal from McDonald's. Also, the caterer needs 24 hours notice. We cannot get the food.
Peter, I told you to feed the people. I know you can do this. No one takes a lamp and hides it under a basket.
Now, there was a young boy attending that had 5 loaves of bread and 2 small fish.
Hey, there's a kid over there. Go talk to him. Okay. Hey, kid.
Yeah?
I see you brought some food there. Could we have that?
Well, this was my lunch, but okay, I guess I can give it to you.
Yeah, thanks.
5 loaves of bread and 2 small fish to feed 5,000 people?
Hey, how much did you get?
It's 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish.
What? That's not even close to enough.
That's not nearly enough to feed a crowd this big.
Jesus. Yes, Peter. So good news, found some food. Bad news, it's not enough. Peter, bring the food to me.
Even though it didn't seem like much, the little boy brought his lunch to Jesus.
Jesus, I thought I would give this to you so you could use it to feed all these people. I don't know how it's possible, but I know with God, all things are possible.
Jesus lifted the food up toward heaven and blessed it.
Dear Lord, thank you for this bountiful blessing, and I pray that you bless all these people here with your food. I'm going to take some for myself.
Then he placed the food into a basket and told the disciples to hand it out to everyone.
Okay, Peter, go ahead and start feeding all the people.
Okay, but this is going to be a short food distribution. We only got 5 loaves and 2 fish, but okay, here we go. Here's you some. Here's you some. Here's you some. And here's you some.
The disciples were amazed. They handed out the food, which had turned into baskets and baskets of food.
This is amazing. I can't believe we have all this food to feed all these people. I am so stuffed. I can't believe I ate so much.
They gave everyone so much food, they ended up with 12 baskets of food left over.
Peter, can you believe there's 12 baskets left? This is awesome.
It's crazy to think that only 5 loaves and 2 fish could feed over 5,000 people. I bet that's what the little boy was thinking as well.
I'm so glad I gave Jesus my food. This incredible miracle couldn't have happened and all these people would still be hungry. I'm so glad I trusted God and gave him what I had.
He could have kept his lunch to himself, but he was willing to give what he had. He gave what he had, and Jesus took that and turned it into much, much more. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Potato Head Theater.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Today we learned about a little boy who gave 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed 5,000 people. Now, I don't know if you've actually seen what 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, how much that can actually feed people, but it's not a lot. And when he gave it to the disciples didn't think it was a lot either. But that little boy trusted God, just as the disciples did. They trusted God too. They trusted that Jesus could multiply, but they never imagined what he would actually do. That after he blessed the food and he broke part of the bread and kept some for himself and then gave the rest of the disciples, as they began to pass it out to all of those people, to those 5,000 men. It wasn't just men, but there wasn't just men in the crowd. There were women and children too. 5,000 men. There must have been 10, maybe even 20,000 people there. And 5 loaves and 2 fish fed all of them to where they were full? How is that possible? How could there possibly be 12 basketfuls of leftovers? 5 loaves and 2 fish doesn't even fill 1 basket. I'll tell you how. Jesus did a miracle. He took what that little boy had and he multiplied it. I've told kids this before and I'm going to tell you now, is that 5 times God equals infinite. There is no limit to what God can do with what you have. And that's what that little boy learned today and learned that day. And that's what we're going to learn today as well. You see, God does not need a lot to do a lot. A lot of times we shortchange ourselves. We say, well, I don't come from a rich family. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the most athletic. I don't have a lot. But see, you don't have to have a lot for God to do a lot. God can take anything and make it grow and make it bigger and make it better, because God can do anything. Just as he did with that little boy who brought those 2 loaves and brought those 5 loaves and 2 fish, he made it multiply into the tens of thousands. That little boy didn't have a lot, but God was able to do a lot, and God can do a lot with yours. So don't shortchange yourself. Don't say that you can't do anything just because of who you are or where you come from. If it's God's will, he can use that gift that you're using. He can use that talent that you have to do an amazing thing. You see, we have to give God what we have. We don't have anything extra. We only have what God has given us. And your house, your clothes, your food, your parents, your toys, your talents, your abilities, all of those things God has given you. And he wants us to use it to expand his kingdom. He wants us to use it to tell more people about Jesus, to do big things for him. So we have to do that. We have to use what we have. Imagine it's like this. Imagine that you have 3 friends and you give one friend 5 cookies, and you give another friend 3 cookies, and you give the last friend 1 cookie. So if you would go to the one friend that has 5 cookies and say, hey, I would like 5 cookies. Would that friend give it to you? Well, let's just say they're being super generous, and they would. They would give you all 5 cookies because they have 5 cookies to give. Would it make any sense to go to the kid that has 1 cookie and say, hey, I want 5 cookies? He doesn't have 5. All he has is 1. You see, God is never going to ask you for more than what you don't have. He's just going to ask you for what you have, and then he can make it grow into even more. That's why we have to give. We must give God what we have. And you see, if we give God a little, he will make it much. That's what happened to that little boy. He gave those 5 loaves and those 2 fish, and God made it abundant. He made it massive. He made it large. He did an incredible miracle. And God can do that with you as well. God can take that little bit that you give, that little bit, whether it's a talent or it's time or it's money or just a word, God can take that and he can do an incredible amount with it. It doesn't take a lot. All it takes is a little bit of surrender, a little bit of sacrifice on our part. And God can do an incredible thing with it, just like what he did with that little boy. So let me pray with you right now. And let's pray that we have the courage to give God what we have. God, thank you so much for this example of this little boy thousands of years ago who trusted Jesus to give what little bit he had to feed a large, huge amount of people. I pray that we take his example and we trust you with what we have. We may not be the best singer, we may not be the best runner, we may not be the best person in math class, but that doesn't matter. We're going to give you what we have. And God, we trust and we know that you can use it, and you will make a lot out of what seems to be a very little. In your name we pray. Amen. You know, one of the reasons why God can do incredible things with it is because he's faithful. It's because he's faithful. He can do things. He can do incredible things with what we have. And so that's what we're going to sing right now. It's a new song. It's called You Are Faithful. Because God is faithful to do what he says. He's good to follow his promises. So let's sing this together. You are faithful.
Your plans for me are good. You hold my future. You're working all the time. You're the mountain mover. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me. And everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. I'll trust your every word, 'cause I believe that you're working for my good. Yes, you're committed. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me. And everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me. And everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful.
Thank you so much for joining us on this week's Hope Kids Online. You know, Justin, what that little boy did where he gave Jesus that food, those 5 loaves and 2 fish, just to feed 5,000, that was a crazy story.
That was his lunch, and he was a little boy.
I know, and he trusted God, and God multiplied it to be 12 baskets.
Not just 12 baskets.
Oh, that's true.
12 baskets was the leftovers.
It's true. 12 baskets is leftovers. You know, I used to ask my kids all the time, hey, what's 5 plus God? You know what that is?
12.
Infinite. Just so many, because God can always multiply. So no matter what you have, God can totally use it and do incredible things with it. Hey, you know what? Kids Camp is coming up. It's coming up super quick. Actually, the early bird registration is coming up super quick.
Well, that's actually a pretty cool application of this principle. Because if you take what you're sending the kids to do, it's multiplying it in such an incredible way.
It is. And that's why we love camp, because it's a ton of fun, but it's also a great investment in Jesus and learning all about Jesus and how he made you and what he has called you to do. And it's an incredible, just a whole week. And that's going to be July 12th through the 16th. So we want you to come to that. The registration deadline, the early bird registration, is going to be on May 11th. To get the rest of the information, including how much it costs, go to churchofhope.com/kids, scroll down to the camp section, and it'll give you all the information you have there. So that's it.
Sounds good.
That's the whole thing. So make sure to like, follow, or subscribe to everything we're doing here on Hope Kids so you don't miss a single thing. And for more information, head over to www.churchofhope.com/kids to learn more. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.